that we've done here for the last couple of weeks. I'm making pine nut Meyer lemon snowballs. So it's like a traditional snowball cookie, but amped up and modernized with some different flavors. So I'm going to start by mixing together my dry ingredients, just two things. I have some whole wheat pastry flour, one of my favorite ingredients for baking. It's more finely ground than traditional whole wheat flour, so it works really well for cookies and breads and dishes like that. And then a little bit of kosher salt, half a teaspoon of kosher salt. That's it. You don't need any leavening, no baking powder, no baking soda here. And I'm just kind of mixing that with a whisk and using the whisk also to kind of break up any big clumps of flour that might be in there. Okay. Now I have the beginnings of my wet ingredients here in the mixer. I have a half a cup of butter, which is 1 stick. Then I'm just going to start beating to kind of fluff it up a little bit. So it's been softening at room temperature. Let me scrape this down. I'm going to add some more things to this to make our wet ingredient for these cookies. Okay. These are a really quick cookie to make, so you know, if you need some teacher gifts or something like that, you need a cookie that where the dough doesn't have to chill, this is your guy. Okay, I'm going to have the beater going, and then I'm adding in some olive oil, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So between the olive oil and the Meyer lemon, these have a little bit of the kind of Mediterranean flair, which is really lovely. And like I said, it's just a more updated, modernized, and kind of kicked up version of a snowball cookie. Some vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons. I'm going to scrape down the bowl again. And then I'm going to add some sugar. I'm using powdered sugar here. Powdered sugar for these cookies is important because it helps to create that sort of crumbly shortbread-like texture in the cookie. Okay, let's see. I'm going to add in an egg yolk. Just 1 egg yolk, not the white. Come on, get out of there. And then the powdered sugar. So basically, this is like creaming together butter and sugar, but there are a few other things added in. And the sugar, in this case, is powdered sugar. Okay, I just want that to fully incorporate and combine and look well mixed. I'm going to scrape down the bowl again, just to kind of get all that sugar off the side of the bowl and make sure everything's well blended. It's okay that there are a few clumps of butter mixed in with the oil. That's totally fine. Like it's not completely smooth. That's fine. Okay, so the next ingredient that's going to go in is Meyer lemon zest. So I've already zested 1 lemon. It gave me, these are kind of small Meyer lemons. A lot of times they're a lot larger than this. I need a teaspoon and a half of Meyer lemon zest, so I've already zested 1. Let me zest the other. Now, if you cannot find Meyer lemons, you can use regular lemons. And what's the difference in the two? Well, the Meyer lemon zest is going to be incredibly floral and fragrant and wonderful. It is very different actually from traditional lemon zest. But again, regular lemon zest will work just fine here. When I'm zesting citrus, I like to do it this way as opposed to, you know, zesting this way. This way I'm able to more fully see that I'm avoiding the bitter white pith. Gives me better control. I know exactly where I've gone on the fruit. So that's the way I like to do it.
We have a quick question.
Great.
So Justine says hi, first of all.
Hi.
And she also says, can she use her hand mixer instead of a stand mixer?
Yes, absolutely. You can use a hand mixer. That would work well. There's no actual reason to use a stand mixer other than if you want it to be hands-free. Like if you're doing a Facebook Live. But yes, your hand mixer will work great. The dough is actually very easy. It comes together very nicely. There's no trick about using the stand mixer. Okay, so I'm going to add my flour. It's just flour and salt. I love using kosher salt for cookies because you get little pockets of salt granules every now and then. That's just wonderful. Okay, I'm going to get that started mixing. And while it's mixing and getting incorporated, I'm going to point out the next ingredient, which is the pine nuts. It's half a cup of pine nuts that I toasted. So while my oven was preheating, or actually once it had preheated to 350 degrees, I toasted these on a sheet pan for about 6 or 7 minutes. I set a timer, and that is the biggest advice I can give you when you're toasting nuts, is to set a timer. You may think you're going to remember they're in the oven, but I guarantee you something will often distract you and you will end up burning your nuts. It happens every day up here in the test kitchen with people who cook for a living. It's so easy to, when you're multitasking, to just get distracted. And with a pricey ingredient like pine nuts, that would be a real shame.
So Ann, we have another question.
Great.
So Evelyn says she doesn't like pine nuts.
Oh, yeah. If you don't like pine nuts, any nut will work here. You could use pecans, which is more traditional in a snowball type cookie. Those will be lovely. Walnuts would be great, give you that little teeny bit of bitterness that's so lovely in walnuts. Hazelnuts would be great here. Any nut will work. I would just toast them first before they go into the batter. So I'm just doing the final mixing by hand because I don't want to overbeat the dough. You can see that it's a little crumbly. That is totally okay. It will come together as you make your little dough balls, which turn into snowballs. Okay, so this makes 36 cookies. I'm not gonna make all 36 here, but I'm just gonna show you. I have a 1 tablespoon cookie scoop. And what I do is I like to scoop the batter and just kind of press it against the side of the bowl to kind of compact it in there. And that gives me a good head start on my dough ball. So, press and compact here. Roll it up. If the cookie starts to kind of crumble, that's okay. Just kind of squeeze it back together with your palm. There's enough oil and butter in there to kind of bring it back together. I'm gonna go ahead and fill out this pan so I can get it in the oven and get 1 batch baking, but you should have 16 cookies or 16 dough balls on each baking sheet. You wanna have 2 baking sheets ready to go here, lined with parchment paper. One of the best sort of ingredients when you're baking cookies. I know it's not really an ingredient, but it is, to me, absolutely critical to use parchment paper when making cookies. They don't stick, they're a breeze to lift off. The parchment paper helps sort of even out hot spots on the pan and kind of even out the temperature on the pan. It's just wonderful. And you can now buy it in pre-cut sheets that fit perfectly into a standard half sheet pan this size. So, I mean, it's super, super easy to bake with. Okay, just bear with me here. I'm gonna finish out this sheet pan and then I'm gonna show you what these look like when they're done. I've actually gone ahead and sugared them because it's best to do that when they're warm. I'll kind of go back over that when I show you the cookies. Just a second. Like I said, this is great if you're in a hurry because you can bake the cookies off. The dough doesn't have to chill or rest or anything like that. Love these pine nuts in here. Okay, 350 degrees for 12 to 14 minutes. You don't want to underbake these because they actually need to kind of crisp up, you know. Okay, let me get these in here and turn on my timer. I'm gonna split difference and go for 13 minutes. Okay. And now when they are done, they are so cute. This is what they look like, a traditional snowball cookie. The surprise is when you bite into them and you taste that beautiful floral fragrance of the Meyer lemon zest. Now, let me just give you a quick tip. So like I said, it's easier to get the sugar to stick when they're warm, when the cookies are a little warm. Not when they're hot, you don't want to burn your fingers. But if the sugar is not sticking, just kind of rub it in a little with your fingers to get it to adhere. Just kind of dip the cookie into the powdered sugar, rub it in, let it adhere. Oh, you know, another nut that would be delicious here is a pistachio. Someone had asked earlier if you could use a different nut other than pine nuts. Pistachios would be awesome.
Ooh,
and really pretty.
Sorry, we have one more question. And Tara wants to know if you can freeze this dough.
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, you can freeze the dough. So I would go ahead and scoop it out and kind of roll it into the balls, freeze it on a flat sheet pan, freeze it flat on a sheet pan, and then once the dough is frozen, you can transfer it to a zip top bag. I would bake them from frozen and just add another minute or two to the bake time, and it should work perfectly. So that's it. That is the last of our cookie roundup. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've watched this on Facebook, please like and share this video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe so you'll get notifications when we go live. And next week is Christmas Eve. It's a holiday. We won't be live, but we will be broadcasting, so please tune in. I'll have a great Christmas morning breakfast idea to share with you. And then on the 31st, which is New Year's Eve, we won't be live either. We'll be broadcasting a pre-recorded episode, but please do tune in because I'll be sharing a great reset dish for the new year. Okay, thanks so much. I hope everyone has a happy holiday, and I'll see you in the new year.